Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Vikim Daud, and today I'm going to be presenting the Future of Work with AI webinar. I'm welcoming each and every one of you, and hopefully, these 2 hours we're going to be indeed enjoying while presenting this webinar, which is very exciting because it's going to be very much discussing one of the most recent technologies, which is all about the artificial intelligence or the GPTs, generative pre-trained transformers, such as the Copilot. Guys, if you're ready, I'm ready too. Okay, let's get dive into the future work with AI. Okay, so yes, as this subtitle over here is pretty much telling, we're going to be discover how the artificial intelligence is transforming the productivity, communication, and also like decision making across the workplace. Moving on forward, yes, welcome everyone. Indeed, thank you very much for being here today in this webinar, Future of Work with Microsoft Copilot. Very interesting as we step into the artificial intelligence era. Indeed, Copilot is redefining how we work by embedding the intelligence assistant into the Microsoft 365 applications we rely on a daily basis. Uh, so to say from writing and analyzing to planning and collaborating, indeed Copilot is transforming the productivity and of course unlocking the new ways to work smarter. Yes, today we're going to be exploring the potential of the Copilot, which is, of course, developed by the Microsoft in order to empower the users within the workplace, and with it to be able to boost the efficiency, to be able to support the informed decisions, and also, like as noted now, empower every role within the organization, from HR all the way to the information technology departments and of course to leadership as well. So without not losing that much time, let's begin our journey into the future of work. Okay, looking into the agenda, definitely, as we've actually started with some of the intro words in regard to the artificial intelligence Copilot. Okay, the aim is actually to spend more of a time into the hands-on activities. Okay, so yes, after the initial introduction to the Copilot, we might take a couple more minutes in order to provide some of the very key concepts in regard to the Copilot in regard to the generative pre-trained transformers. Okay, in regard in general to the artificial intelligence, so we established the understanding pretty much around this new technology, but then pretty much we're going to be taking time in order to dive into the hands-on activities. So yes, we're going to be very much looking to work a bit with Copilot in Teams, to work a bit with the Copilot in Microsoft Word, and in that particular order with Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook as well. Yes, if time permits, definitely we might look into the OneNote whiteboard forms, okay? But that is going to be optional for this particular webinar because as you might be aware and informed as well, actually we have additional webinars as well, which definitely will provide more timing to delve deep into the other apps and services which for the time being are actually equipped with the Copilot by Microsoft. Yes, we're going to be having a wrap up of this webinar, questions and answers. But yes, feel free to address any questions that you might have, any comments, any suggestions, any complaint as well. Okay, acknowledgement. Yes, feel free use the chat box accordingly. And then from time to time, I'm going to be very much looking into the chat box and yes, address your questions, your comments, and everything that comes along within the chat box. Okay, moving on forward. The initial question would be, okay, well, how much you are into the Copilot, okay? So that tells that I'm very much interested to find out, are you using the Copilot? If yes, are you using for the personal reasons or you're using within the workplace, okay? Can we just, to ice break actually this particular webinar, Can we find out from you guys? Okay. Yes. Anyone? Willingness to share the information through the chat box. Okay. Or through the audio systems as well. Okay. Amar tells me not much. Okay. No problem. That's good. So this is very much going to be helping you, Amar, in order to uh, uh, establish the initial understanding with a Copilot, and obviously get to know how much of a benefit you can get from the Copilot. In similar frequencies, Syed as well, not much. Okay, Mohammed says not much. Okay, thank you very much for being discreet. Okay, I'm telling us that you don't have that much of the experience with a Copilot. Okay, but at least tells that you're being actually tried so far the Copilot. Okay, and most probably, I'm just guessing, might have been the Copilot, or it is the Copilot, which is actually for free. Okay, I have an idea, but looking to learn more. Okay, Ayman says, Ayman, well, yes, respect for the gentleman Ayman, but it just tells that he is very much into the artificial intelligence, because his name, his first name, it carries on the first letters, AI, okay, artificial intelligence man, okay. Thank you very much for sharing the idea, but of course, at the same time, for the willingness that you are very much interested to learn more. Appreciate it. Yes, respect. Okay, yeah, anyone else? Okay, Copilot, but maybe ChatGPT. Let's broaden up our conversation. Okay, do not. Other, we're going to be very much as noted by the title of the slide so far. Actually, the title of the webinar in this slide, the very first one, of course, title slide. We're being very much actually into the Copilot, but obviously let's broaden up our discussion. What about the Chat GPT? Any one of you that is using the Chat GPT? Yes. Okay. So for sure, I'm going to be having more yeses. Okay. Yes. 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 Sometime. Okay. We usually use it. Sad says we usually use it. Okay. So yeah, actually, some of you that told me that not much in regard to the Copilot. I'm seeing ChatGPT, yes. Okay, now the very next question would be, okay, Copilot, ChatGPT. Okay, uh, for all of you that told me that you're using the ChatGPT, is it the free version, or the actually with the payment, with a subscription? Both. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it for being so cooperative. Okay, what interests me, okay, let's go now actually narrow this discussion. What was the reason that you actually opted for ChatGPT and not for the Copilot? Knowing that the Copilot is for free as well, and knowing that the Copilot is actually can be used as the individual user as well, not only for the businesses, which is actually the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, let's see. Yeah, most of you are actually going with free, but some of you are using both of them. Okay. Because it was the first one that wasn't, yes, 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 acceptable. Okay, yes, I agree with that. I use Copilot only free versions. Okay, thank you so much in that. I found Copilot interesting, more options than ChatGPT. Sharafat, yeah, very strong statement there. Awesome, awesome. But Sharafat, are you using the ChatGPT or Copilot? Okay, because you've admitted that more of interesting stuff is actually on the Copilot. I'm trusting Copilot web and work versions. Okay, the series says in Copilot web and work versions. Sharafat says ChatGPT. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you indeed. A big thank you goes to everyone, okay, for being so cooperative. After Google Maps, Copilot is my go-to. Okay, amen. Thank you so much as well. Appreciate it. Okay, class. Yes, that will be enough for the time being in regard to finding out, okay, how we stand with the Copilot, okay. We've added an extra pretty much discussion here by bringing over the discussion around the ChatGPT, and then we actually then narrowed this conversation in regard to what is the reason that some of you are actually working on ChatGPT and not on the Copilot, or maybe less time spending on Copilot and more on the ChatGPT. Yes, we've had actually one very reasonable answer that was telling that it was actually the first that was introduced in comparison. So yes, ChatGPT at the beginning of 2023 and then the end of 2023, pretty much it was the Copilot. Okay, moving on forward. Yes, two more concepts. Okay, here. Yes. So, well, pretty much we all know the open AI. Okay. Yes, that's not for the profit organization which does R&D, research and development into building the AI models, okay, or artificial intelligence models, okay. And then yes, Copilot is pretty much is we will not say a product of the OpenAI, okay, but yes, it's actually coming from the OpenAI, but it's a product of the Microsoft, okay. So fine-tuned and then further enhanced and developed by the Microsoft. But the origin is definitely within the OpenAI, and I'm not going to go into this webinar into the discussion because that story might be well known by you in regard to the collaboration of the OpenAI, and of course the Copilot. Okay. Can we do some comparison over here? Yes, in a friendly way, definitely in this discussion. Okay, so when we look into the Chat GPT, okay, so Chat GPT, of course, we said it's the free version and the payment version. Yes, it is. ChatGPT admits that when we actually interact as a user with the ChatGPT, it tells us that the data that we're sharing, okay, that we're inputting into the ChatGPT might be used to train this particular model, okay? Although with the most recent settings, of course, we can control whether we would want to the set of the data that I'm sharing with the ChatGPT to actually be used to train the model. Oh, so that option has been added lately or recently, okay? But at least it's actually using our data, okay? So this is good to know, okay? And in the same line of discussion, Copilot, okay, is very strict in this regard. It's not using the data to be trained, okay? Even within the corporate environment. So I was talking for the free version, but even in the corporate environment, it's not using the organization data in order to train the model. Okay, so this is actually that the main difference over here, and definitely the flavors in terms of the capabilities, in terms of the features, in terms of this and that, definitely they do make a difference, because as we're going to be discussing, which I'm going to be saving actually for the next coming slides, okay, there's plenty of the Copilot within the Microsoft 365 apps and services. Okay, so yes, important at this stage of the discussion is very much this actually the data. Okay, yeah, but we will not say that the data is not secure with the ChatGPT. It's just about the fact that your data can be used to train the model. So if you accept that particular thing, no problem. Move forward and then do the work with the OpenAI ChatGPT. Okay, but as we've said, you can very much to actually work out those particular settings, whether you want or not. And then on with Copilot is very much you have the data which is not going to be used in order to train the model. Okay, moving on forward. Well, when we actually discuss the Copilot for the Microsoft 365, okay, important to note is that this particular AI model, okay, is actually trained with a large language model, okay? That's why, okay, I'm just going to be taking a very short example over here. If you are very much into the databases, okay, relational database management systems primarily, okay, since I'm coming from the Microsoft technology, of course, I will be mentioning access within the Office package, okay, small to mid-sized businesses, or the SQL Server. Okay, well, we have the structured query language. Okay, so we need to learn the structured query language in order to create the databases. Okay, so create the databases, as we all know, means that we are actually communicating with the databases. But this communication should actually be conducted at the technical stage. Okay, now when it comes to the Copilot, or the most recent AI models, okay, in general, even the ChatGPT, okay, or the Bard from the Google, well, we actually don't, there's no need for us to learn, okay? We can address, or we can actually enter the queries into our own native language, okay? And that pretty much justifies the fact that the large language model have been used in order to train these particular AI models and make them so feasible in terms of using in a daily basis, whether for the personal usage or within the workplace. Okay. Yes, it is part of the Microsoft 365 apps and services. Okay. So you have it within the Office 365 and you have it within the other portfolio of the apps and services within the Microsoft 365. According to the Microsoft, we are between 200 to 300 apps and services only within the Microsoft 365. I'm not saying that you have it 200 co-pilots for the time being, but there's a dozen of a co-pilot indeed within the apps and services of the Microsoft 365. Okay. The most recent naming convention is actually Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, just to indicate that indeed the Microsoft 365 or the former Microsoft 365 is actually being shaped by the Copilot more and more. Okay, yes, a web-based or corporate data. You have these options to specify. Okay, so even on the free version, you can actually pretty much work around these particular settings, but it's more obvious on the corporate environment. It's more obvious on the business side when you're actually going to be specifying, as we're going to be seeing within the Microsoft Teams as well. Okay, so yes, and then if you're opting for the web-based, the Copilot is going to be then definitely retrieving the information from the internet, from the public domain, okay? Definitely from the confirmed sources. And then if you are specifying the corporate data, then it's all about the data of your organization. So whatever query that you've been addressing to the Copilot, okay, is going to be actually attempting to retrieve it within the knowledge base that has been established by the data of your organization. But there is one requirement actually, okay, that the data should be, okay, there are two repositories that are being used by the Copilot within the corporate environment or the business environment. It is the OneDrive and the SharePoint. So your data should be actually very much located within these two apps, so then the Copilot can very much reference data of your organization. Okay, what is the Microsoft Graph? Well, when it comes to the Microsoft Graph, pretty much, well, we are actually over here dealing with the way of how we're going to be very much connected overall within the apps and services of the Microsoft 365. Okay, so this very much tells. Okay, let me just. Okay, so this very much tells that within the organization, Microsoft Graph is actually being used as the how can I say, as the approach or mechanism which is going to be very much actually bringing you the or connectivities within the apps and services. Okay, for instance, as we can see over here, at the epicenter of this Microsoft Graph platform is the user. And definitely the user, him or her, can have access to the Office 365 applications, to name them Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams. Of course, she can have access to the notes. She can have access to the other apps and services. Okay, so we're talking for the platform which brings in the connectivity between the apps and services of the Microsoft 365. Okay. Definitely. We have as I was saying, we have at the epicenter the user, but of course, we can then very easily expand this particular benefit into the groups as well. Okay, where for instance, like you have it. The teams which is considered to be collaboration and of course communication environment, and as such pretty much will help a lot in order to then groups work around one particular project, okay, and then be able to access then various data from the other apps and services of the Microsoft 365. Yet again, all that is actually being available and provided by the Microsoft Graph. Okay, so moving on forward, okay, and let's have a try over here. Okay, so I'm going to be moving on forward over here. Okay, just give me a second here. Okay. Okay, so here I am. I am actually within the Microsoft 365. Okay, let me just do this one. Okay, so I am within the Microsoft 365 of this particular tenant where I'm having the Microsoft 365 license. Okay, so in this regard, then I'm going to be initially just presented the Microsoft Copilot in Teams. Okay, in action. So from here, okay, well, pretty much here's the Copilot chat over here. Okay, so I can actually click on that one. Okay, and this is not the Copilot in Teams, but this is the Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can notice now here the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, I'm going to close this one. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the app launcher here. Okay, and then here I'm going for the Teams. Okay, so I'm now in Teams. Okay, I'm having the Copilot here. Okay, but if I go in, okay, retrieve pretty much the conversation chat that I was having with Ayman, okay, which of course I'm taking the chance now to greet my colleague Ayman, okay, which is also part of this webinar as well, okay. Then you see from here, I'm having another Copilot over here. Okay, now this is actually two different Copilots. Okay, in fact, it's one Copilot, but the way that are actually accessing the data, they are actually changing a little bit. They have some sort of a difference. Okay, this Copilot here is very much related to what? Related to the conversations that or communications that I've actually conducted with Iman specifically. So it's going to be retrieving mostly the data from this. Okay, let me just minimize this one. It's going to be retrieving the data mostly from this conversation over here. Okay, but if I go to this Copilot here, okay, now this Copilot, what does is actually, okay, first of all, notice here, work and web. Okay, so work, as we've noted earlier, is going to be mainly accessing or referencing the data of the organization, strictly SharePoint, OneDrive. Okay, if I say web, then it's going to be referencing the data on the internet as well. Okay, so that's the main difference. Now, because this is referencing the data of the organization, this tells that this Copilot can go beyond the conversation window, okay? The one that I was very much having over here with Ayman, okay? And of course, this Copilot. So this is very internally to the teams, and this one goes outside of the teams. It reaches out actually to the other apps and services. Primarily, it goes to the Microsoft Outlook, okay? And definitely they then can bring more of the information from there. Okay, so here, for instance, let me just try out. Okay, so I'm referencing the work over here. Okay, although as you can see over here, I'm actually having some suggested prompts as they used to be over here as well. Suggested prompts. Going back to this work. Okay, and then just to see suggested prompts from here. Okay, well, pretty much here are actually highlights from the past 7 days. Let's just try over here. Okay, what did Ayman say over here? And then actually some of the highlights from the past 7 days. Okay, yes, it's coming actually on the right hand side of this particular view over here. Okay, and then yes, goes over the conversation of mine that I've had actually with the Ayman. Okay, now if I'm going to this Copilot over here, okay, and then the work, okay, uh, I will I will very much as summarize the emails that I have exchanged or communicate. Pardon, I have communicated with Ayman. Okay, this one. Okay, let's see if it's going to be finding those particular emails. Okay, yes, you see, there is not that much data. Okay, why? Because the tenant that you're seeing is not the production environment in our case. Okay, within my organization, this is testing environment. I myself did not have very much communication, okay? But at least the few emails that we're actually sharing between I and Ayman pretty much over here actually can be found in this particular chat, okay? Then I'm being provided with some of the other suggestions. Can you provide the dates of these emails, any updates on the MCIT workshop, okay? So mainly that was actually the keywords, the thing that we've been actually sharing, Ion and I. Okay, so that was just an initial to actually establish the understanding in regard to this particular viability of both the chat on the team, of course, teams, and then also like the chat in the conversations within the Microsoft Teams. Okay, says this Copilot and the one on the left side in the banner are both the same. Okay, said I think that I've actually provided you the answer. Okay, that when we look into the Microsoft Teams, the one on the right hand side, okay, is so when I go to specific chat conversations, so this one here, actually this is very much into the Teams, okay? It just references the data within the Microsoft Teams, okay? And like I said, the one over here, okay, or this one, which tells that for the time being we're using this one, this is referencing the data in Microsoft Teams and of course Microsoft Outlook and elsewhere within the organization. But a requirement is SharePoint and OneDrive. And obviously, now that this Copilot is referencing the data elsewhere beyond the Microsoft Teams, tells that the backend logic is being supported by the Microsoft Graph. Okay, so if we've been pretty much trying to explain what is the Microsoft Graph, I think that now you're actually very much into the understanding that the reason, yes, the reason that the data is being referenced beyond Microsoft Teams is actually the benefit or the help of the Microsoft Graph. Okay, that's good. Okay, moving on forward, couple more information over here. Okay, so now that we've had that initial touch into the real world, okay, as far as the Copilot, okay, let's have a look over here. Okay, so yes, we did set, and you also admitted, because you've actually shared that information with me through the chat box, that there is a free version of the Copilot. Yes, we have the free version at the Windows 11, at the Windows 10. Okay, there are some requirements in regard to the operating system that we need to use the build 22H2. That's the minimum requirement. If we have that, which is actually from the 2022 year, okay, we're now in 2025. Definitely all of us would have that. Okay, so then we will have, or we're going to be provided at the level of the operating system with the Copilot. And that Copilot, as we know, is meant to actually support our work around the operating system. Of course, in terms of the searching the information, but of course, in terms of setting up the configurations or running the configurations at the level of the operating system. Then we have within the Microsoft Edge, okay? We call it actually the Bing chat, okay? But at least we have the Copilot in there, and we can actually go ahead and use that particular Copilot as well, okay? We have the Copilot web portal as well, okay? So we can actually go ahead and then with Microsoft account sign in there and pretty much do a lot of the fancy work as well, okay? So that pretty much is the free version, okay? Then we have the Copilot Pro. If we would be very much interested actually to then pretty much establish some sort of a professional work. I'm not saying with the free version we cannot do some professional work, but of course extract more of the capabilities of the Copilot. Okay, and then in that regard we can then pretty much sign up actually run a subscription. Okay, of a premium version, which in this level we're still an individual user. Okay, in regard to the utilization or leverage of the Copilot. But then comes the Copilot from Microsoft 365, which I've just now presented to you, okay, or shown to you, okay, which this then obviously it's a subscription at the level of the organization, not at the level of the individual user, as you might know, okay, but the organization actually subscribes. Definitely you can reach out the agreement with the Microsoft or its partners, but then ends up receiving actually licenses for the certain users or maybe for all of the users within the organization in regard to using the Microsoft 365 Copilot, okay? And when it's using actually the Microsoft 365 Copilot, then definitely it actually brings a broad range of the apps and services. You will have the Microsoft 365 chat, the one that we've seen it, okay? You straight from the homepage of the Microsoft 365 is very much this particular one, okay? Then in Teams, we saw in Teams the Microsoft Copilot as well. Of course, we'll take time to look it into the Outlook, into the Word, into the PowerPoint, into the Excel, okay? And then yes, as I said, or like I said, if we have some more time, definitely we'll be looking into the Copilot in OneNote, in Loop, and the Whiteboard as well. Okay, now so far, well, we've been covering the free, we've been covering the individual user, okay, with the pro, but of course the Microsoft 365 Copilot, but we do have it, the GitHub Copilot as well, okay? Yes, for all of the developers in this particular webinar, okay, you are aware of the GitHub Copilot, which is going to be helping you to do what? To actually generate the coding, okay, to test the coding, and then deploy the coding, debug the coding, do all of this stuff in regard to the programming, okay? Very handy indeed for all of the people that are using it so far. Indeed happens to be quite handy. Dynamics 365 Copilot Enterprise Application, CRM, ERP, okay? Yes, Copilot is part of the Dynamics 365 as well. And this then tells, okay, so if this is individual user, well, this is then the corporate environment. Okay, so now here still we are in similar terms as we're being actually from the perspective of the subscription with the Microsoft 365. Okay, moving on forward, Power Platform Copilot. You do have it within the Power Platform. Okay. Yes, you have it within the Power Apps, Power Automate, okay, and of course Power BI as well. Okay, so that definitely is going to be very handy leveraging the Copilot at the level of the Power Platform applications as well. For the everyone which is very much into the security, okay, security operations centers, you can benefit a lot from using or leveraging the Copilot because it's going to be helping you a lot indeed in order to strengthen and hardening the security and with it increase the overall security posture of your organization. Okay, but yet okay, so if we said that this is individual user, okay, now then these are pretty much actually the subscriptions that your organization needs to conduct it, so then you end up as the employee or as a user organization using actually the Copilot within the workplace. Okay. Yes, indeed, the Copilot is meant or developed in order to empower the users. The reason for that is that because the aim is to increase the productivity. Why we need to increase the productivity within the organization? This might be very simple question. The idea is to increase the productivity in order to actually gain that competitive advantage on the market that we are operating. But before we reach out to that one, the idea is to increase the productivity and obviously make those informed decisions. Usually we say like the right decision at the right time, okay? And then the right gain from the perspective of the business continuity. And then that actually initially creates the potential so the organization can actually establish the so-called competitive edge on the market that is operating. And then each organization is actually out there is striving to become a leader in the market that is operating. So then from that very perspective of this particular reason, obviously we see that the Copilot is meant to empower the business users, the data analysts, the information workers, the finance department, and the finance users as well. Yes, the leaders is going to be helping them a lot in order to take on those informed decisions. Adaptive managers, L&D managers, HR as well. Okay, further, developers, AI engineers, app makers, designers. Okay, further sales professionals, marketing professionals, and further definitely IT professionals, security professionals. Indeed, you have it various types of the co-pilots within the big portfolio of the apps and services on the Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, or within the broad range of the Microsoft products in Azure cloud computing environment in order to empower you, empower your colleagues, and with it increase the productivity within the organization. And as we've noticed so far, to create the potential for organization to gain the competitive advantage on the market that your organization is actually operating. Okay, what is the art of the prompt? Okay, let's view it from this perspective. Okay, how we interact with the Copilot. Indeed, when we actually work with the Copilot, the user interface is very simple. It's just a text box, okay, which we call it actually a prompt. So for all of you that you do have the experience with the command line interface, okay, we will say that is actually some command line interface. Yes, it is actually, okay, but the benefit is huge. Okay, why? Just because of the capabilities that brings in within its internal backend logic or architecture. Okay, so the art of a prompt, okay, is okay now. Uh, you yourself might have the experiences because you've shared with me your experiences, not that much with Copilot, but of course a lot of it with the ChatGPT. You can share with me the experiences that indeed sometimes you're getting what you've been looking for and sometimes you're not getting what you've been looking for. Okay, although you are addressing your query to the same tool, to the same assistant. Okay, now, tool assistant. Okay, let me just pretty much go over this particular short explanation. The Copilot, okay? Well, usually it is like this, that when we actually go fly with the airplanes, okay? Well, pretty much we hear that the guy, he or she, okay, is acting as a pilot, but next to him sits another co-pilot. So always think about the co-pilot as your personal digital assistants, okay? The one that we've been having before was Cortana, but not actually at the same level of the capabilities, definitely. It was an attempt, a version of the AI, but very limited. Nowadays, we have actually these AI models powered by the LLM, and that makes the big difference, the huge difference. So then, because the Copilot can be thought as the tool, as an assistant, of course, digital one, then always pretty much address your queries to the Copilot in order to increase the productivity. But the thing that we said that you're addressing the same text, okay? But sometimes you're getting what you're looking for and sometimes not. That matters actually from the prompt, from the very text that you've actually entered into that particular text box. Okay, so then that's why the prompt engineering actually deals with what? With the techniques to craft to craft the best prompts so you can extract the best out of the Copilot. For that very reason, we need to establish the goal. Okay, so what do we want from the Copilot with that particular iteration? Okay, we need to have the context. Other than having a goal in the prompt, we need to have the context in the prompt as well. Okay, so why do we need it and who is actually involved can be actually pretty much the context. Okay, the sources, the more sources we provide, the more of a potential for the Copilot to bring us the information that we're looking for. Okay, so what information or samples do we want Copilot to use? We're going to be referencing that. Okay, expectations, what we are expecting actually from that particular prompt. How should Copilot respond to the best fulfill our request? So these are actually some of the very strong considerations that we need to bear in mind every time that we're going and, of course, addressing a prompt, okay, to the Copilot. Some of the examples of the goal summarize this meeting, as I was very much doing that one earlier into the Microsoft Teams chat. I was late to attend and need a brief overview of the key points discussed. Okay, did Mohammed suggest any changes? Include the project timeline in the schedule and any changes suggested by the Mohammed. Okay, well, all that can be equal then, you see, all these, okay, pluses in between can actually make up this prompt. Summarize this meeting. I was late to attend and need a brief overview of the key points discussed. Did Mohammed suggest any changes, include the project timeline and schedule, and any changes proposed by Mohammed? This then indeed can be seen as a very good prompt, okay, which of course is going to be helping us to get what we are looking for from that iteration with the code. Okay. Okay, so then in that particular perspective, let us actually go ahead and then try one interesting prompt. Okay, so here we are. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Vikas, for sharing that information. Okay, class, yes, by the end of this webinar, we're going to be sharing with you the achievement code, okay? So you can redeem it, that one, but of course, requirement is a Microsoft account, okay? Okay, how can I add the icon on Teams for Copilot? Okay, Ali, you're asking how can you add the icon on Teams for Copilot? Okay, let me go in Teams and then, yeah, try to understand the question. Okay. You want to add the icon. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, here we are. Okay, so let's just go back to your question. Okay, how can I add the icon on Teams for Copilot? How you can add the icon for how can you add the icon on Teams for Copilot? Okay, Ali, help me understand your question. Well, over here, if you're referencing the Copilot in here, this icon here, or when I was actually at the chat here with Ayman, okay, well, these icons are actually not set by me, okay? These icons are set by the program itself, by the service, okay? So therefore, it comes automatically. If you have, okay, what you're seeing, as I was saying earlier, this is the, okay, super. Okay, thank you so much. So Ali and the rest of you in this webinar, what you're seeing now, this is an account, okay, which is actually being powered by the organization subscription in regard to the Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this is a tenant that runs a subscription with the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, so this is not the free version. This is actually the paid version. Okay, yes. Okay, coming in here, I would prefer to go over here. Okay, because I'm now here, not within the Copilot of the Microsoft Teams. Okay, which we have two of them. But of course, I'm within the Microsoft Copilot chat. Okay, which is actually part of the Microsoft 365 Copilot or environment or apps and services. Okay, so as we've actually seen it on the Teams in here when I was at this Copilot chat, work and web, same is here, work and web as well. Okay, and of course, suggested prompts over here, both from work and web. And we've said that this is referencing the corporate data and this is referencing the public domain data. Okay, going back to here. Okay, let's just actually pretty much test it a little bit over here. Okay, so we're going to be bringing over here. Okay, once again. Okay, so I'm going to be testing now this particular prompt over here. Remember that here, okay, I said summarize the emails that I have communicated with Iman, okay, from Microsoft Teams Copilot chat, okay. While in this instance, I've actually referenced what? I've said highlight from the past 7 days, highlight the communication, the chat with Iman from the past 7 days, okay? Pretty much, there was no that much chat over here just because of the fact that we have not been communicated. But if I'm coming in here, I'm going to be doing this prompt now, okay? Summarize all my emails, meetings, and chats over the past 30 days related to the AMA. Okay, now we've been actually going over that particular considerations of the prompt. Okay, well, we actually seen it that we need to have something like what we call it like the goal. Okay, and then obviously pretty much we've said that it actually helps us in order to be able to extract the best of the Copilot. Okay, so then here I'm very much establishing that one, providing more of the information. So I'm very clear, I'm very specific, I'm providing sources, and I'm very much into the knowing of what I want from the Copilot. I'm saying summarize all my emails, summarize all my meetings, and chats over the past 30 days related to the IMAT. Okay. In fact, let me just go more than 30 days. Okay. Let's just do it 90 days. Okay. And let me see if I'm going to be receiving something from the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay. Well, I think you're seeing now. Okay. Yes. Let's just see how this information has been categorized by the Copilot. Okay. On my prompt, I said summarize all my emails. Okay. Well, here's the emails that I'm having. Okay. And then obviously I said that this is just testing environment, but if this would be like production environment, okay, indeed would be like, wow, indeed amazed of the big list over here. Okay. And then I've asked meetings. Okay. And then here's the meetings over here. Okay. And indeed, I've had a meeting. Obviously, I've seen it from here that I've had a meeting with Eamon. Okay. Then chats. Definitely, I've had chats, which I've seen actually from the Microsoft Teams as well. Okay. And then this is the beauty that the Copilot is actually helping me over here. Okay. And indeed, it fulfills that justification that we did mention earlier, that this is acting as that particular digital assistant next to me in order to boost my work, in order to increase the productivity of the work that I'm in the organization. Okay, super. Moving on forward. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, this was from the work. Okay, but let's see from the web. Okay, yes. Let's bring over another. Okay, prompt. Okay, so this is big prompt. Okay, it says write a blog post on how AI benefits small businesses. As a tech blogger, I educate small business owners about technology. My audience seeks practical insights into AI applications. Use the recent data and examples from reputable sources like Gartner and Forbes, focusing on AI impacts and real success stories. The post should be concise, clear, and structured with an introduction, main content highlighting AI benefits and challenges, and actionable advice. Maintain an engaging, informative tone. Okay, Very interesting. So I've actually made sure that I'm having all of the considerations into the prompt so I can extract the best out of the Copilot capabilities. Let's run this particular prompt and see what we're going to be getting in this regard. Okay, very impressive. Okay, now, yes, the way that we've been looking into this particular part over here within the work, okay, categorization of the summarization of the emails of the meetings and the chats. Well, let's have a look at here. Okay, well, how AI benefits small businesses, the title, okay, introduction part, okay, and then AI benefits for the small businesses, categorized into the list, okay, challenges of the AI adoption, okay, yet again categorized in the list, okay, actionable advice for the small business owners, categorized into the list as well, real world success stories, yet again in the format of a list, and then conclusion, okay. So that's awesome. But the beauty is, okay, this one here. Okay. I hope this blog post provides your audience with practical insights into AI application for small businesses. If you have any specific examples or additional points you'd like to include, let me know. Okay. So there is no never ending conversation, okay, or engagement or iteration with the Copilot. Always Copilot would be there to assist us in the work that we are actually doing or conducting with it. Okay, so far so good. Okay, uh, pardon, because from the trainings. Okay, yes, respected audience. Any question? Willing to refer documents as well if we have on OneDrive. Yes, Sharafat. Okay, I did mention that one. Yes, I will go and explain that one as well. Okay, but just for you, Sharafat, okay, for the time being, it's referencing the information from the internet. Why? Because I've specified here the web. And when I specify the work here, okay, the previous actually summarization, okay, like some of the today here, for instance, okay, this one here, okay, let me just pick up this one here, okay. So this was summarize all my emails, meetings, and chat over the past 90 days related to the AMA. Okay. Yes, this is actually referencing the information which is residing within the Microsoft 365 Copilot on this particular tenant. Okay. And then requirement, as we've said, is that it will always reference the information which is being held into the repositories of the OneDrive and SharePoint. Okay. So you cannot reference the information which is residing on a local machine. Okay. Copilot, for the time being, doesn't have that capability. Whether it's going to be having in the future, I myself doesn't know that information, but of course we can ask the Copilot and it will tell us. Okay. But for the time being, Microsoft tells us that, especially for the organization, okay, that we need to have the data. Okay, the users needs to have the data within the OneDrive and SharePoint, so the Copilot can then reference that set of the data. In fact, I did mention earlier that stands as a knowledge base. Okay, so it's very important to establish a knowledge base. And what's the knowledge base for the Copilot in this case within this particular tenant? Well, the data of the organization. But definitely, this is the test environment. Of course, within the test environment, we don't have that much of a data, but at least this is how it's actually working. And I hope that answers your question, Sharafat. Any question? Any other question, class? Okay, just to again to reinforce what we've mentioned. Okay, now look this one here. Okay, emails. Okay, so pretty much Ayman has shared the folder, this one with me. Okay, let me see if I can access it from here. I'm just trying. Okay, this message might have been moved or deleted. This tells that, you see, that the Copilot attempted to actually go to the mail. You see, this is the mail, okay? And then obviously, definitely, because I've actually moved that one, relocated, could not find it. Why? Because it's not anymore in the OneDrive. Okay, and OneDrive is actually in this case either the IMAS and of course OneDrive of IMAN and the OneDrive of mine, depending on where that particular information was actually residing. But at least it's just telling you that the thing that we've been actually telling you that a repository are the OneDrive and of course the SharePoint as well. Okay, so in here, yes, this is the Teams messages, of course, and then obviously the emails yet again. Okay, let me just check this one. Maybe this might be if I've not moved that one as well. No, here it is. Okay, yes. So pretty much this is actually one particular email over here. Now that we've actually gotten into the email, okay, I would be very much interested to use now the Copilot in here. Okay, but before I actually do this one, I wanted to actually show to you something interesting. Okay, so let me just move this sharing stuff here. Okay, I'm going to the over here. So this is the home of the Microsoft 365. Okay, Copilot, of course. From here, I will go to the Outlook. Okay, now coming into the Outlook. Okay, well, if you're looking into the user interface of the Outlook, okay, Desiree says if we purchase a one-year subscription with Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Mail, Teams, Copilot will be embedded into all Office applications, correct? And will I see the Work web options? Or should we purchase a separate Microsoft 365 Copilot subscription for Work web embedded? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Mail, Teams, Copilot looks great. Yes. Okay, so actually from the presenter role, I'm going to be now selling the Copilot, okay? Hey, Microsoft, some credit for me. Okay, yes. Desiree, okay, here's how it actually, this particular work is actually working. Well, definitely, let's just say like this, okay? If we are going to be purchasing a subscription, one-year subscription for the Microsoft Office Basic, okay, which is actually the first initial subscription, okay, are we going to be having the Copilot in there? Okay, I will say yes, okay, but limited, okay. The idea Microsoft is actually bringing over the Copilot into these particular subscriptions, but this tells that we have not purchased a Copilot subscription, but we've purchased a Microsoft 365 subscription. Of course, I did mention the basic one, but indeed, if you go to this Microsoft 365 basic, you will have the Copilot, but not on the Office applications. You will be just having the mic. Okay, what you going to be having? This one. Okay, so this Copilot chat, only the Copilot chat. Yes, if you purchase one-year subscription of the Microsoft Office Basic, you will have, when you go to the home page of the Microsoft 365 Copilot, you will have the Copilot chat. But it's only chat. Yes, only chat. So you don't have it within the applications. Okay, why? Because for that reason, we need to go further and purchase the Copilot subscription. Okay, so then we need to purchase Microsoft 365 Copilot subscription. Means that similar to this one. Okay, so going back to the email, I'm sorry, let me close this one. Coming in here, if you're looking at this particular, I'm sorry, on this one, if you're looking at this user interface, okay, now what you're seeing here, okay, what you're seeing here, because my virtual machine isn't working, okay, we need to do some setup because this is corporate environment and laptop obviously and is limited in terms of the resources, but I have a virtual machine that I'm actually, they are using the desktop application of the Office. Same, when I go to the Microsoft Word, I will have the Copilot in the Word desktop, not Word 365. If I go to the Excel, I would have the Copilot in Excel desktop, not 365. Obviously, I'm having on the Excel and Word and the rest of the applications. So this is then the point. You need to purchase the Microsoft Office, pardon, the Microsoft 365, okay, Copilot subscription, okay, which means that then you're going to be having the Copilot into the applications, apps, and services. Other than that, with just an ordinary Microsoft 365 subscription, you're going to be just having the one that I said. And I hope that that provides you the needed answer. Okay. Yes, yes. Sharafat just confirms that it's going to be only chat, the one that we're going to be getting from that particular subscription. And I'm glad that you've actually concluded your statement or that particular query with Copilot looks great. Okay, mercy. Yes. Okay, pleasure. Well, let me just write something in Copilot in English and then translate it in French so I can then indeed. Okay, yes, 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 yes. Okay, let me just do that right away. Copilot, would you assist me uh, to say thank you for your great question, Desiree, in French? Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Desiree. Here it is. Are you seeing the okay, yes. Are you seeing the productivity at hand? Okay. Well, I cannot verify whether that is correct, but you can verify now, okay, and tell me that indeed the reply that I was sharing with you in French, it looks great. Pleasure, indeed. Okay, awesome. Moving on forward. Okay, yes, let's go to the mail here. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much indeed. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much for all your lovely feedbacks. Okay. Okay, yeah, to be very honest, I'm not here to sell the Copilot. Okay, I'm just here to share the benefit that I'm getting and my colleagues are getting. Okay, and why not the same benefit to pass it over to you? Okay, if you're assessing and evaluating that this tool is handy one, and indeed is going to be helping you to automate the work, okay, to increase the productivity, to not repeat a lot of the stuff that we've been actually telling so far, okay, then opt for it, okay? Opt for it, yes, go ahead and use the free version of it. Indeed, why? Spend some time with the free version as the individual user. Okay, get to know the Copilot, okay? Get to know the specifics. When I say the specifics, the user interface is very simple, okay? Apart from the text box, nothing else. But indeed, look at the specifics from the perspective of the prompts, okay? So what are some of the, because it is similar to us, like we know all of the characters of our friends, as of course they know our characters as well. And that's pretty much what makes our friendship great. Okay. So that I'm not saying not to consider the Copilot as human. No, no, just a tool. But from the very perspective of increasing and boosting your productivity, okay, get to know Copilot, okay, the styling of the prompt, okay, so how the prompt should be crafted so you always not losing time, because trust me, the idea is to not lose time, okay? Because we do have plenty of the tools within the workplace that we're using in daily basis. Now, what's the point of an additional tooling, okay? Well, the point of an additional tooling is to be as rational as possible. But indeed, sometimes we might lose a lot of our time with Copilot and not yet actually come to the point where we want to attain it or achieve it. Why? Because we have not paid attention to the prompts. And prompt matters a lot. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Prompt, spend more time in getting to know the prompt rather than just a Copilot. Don't go and read about the specific. I'm just saying, okay, like reading what is so special with the Copilot. No, 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 no. Go in terms of the prompt, learn more the prompting, and you can extract more from the free Copilot. And by the time that you're actually attaining that sort of a productivity with the free Copilot, then that same experience, you can then pass it over to your manager, okay? Telling him or her that I've been using for these couple of days, weeks, or months, the free Copilot. And then at the individual level, as the free user, which is always going to be referencing what? The public domain data, been helping you a lot at the level of Microsoft account, a little bit of the work that you can upload it to your Microsoft OneDrive, okay, personal one, it was actually increasing the productivity at the individual level, then pass it over that experience to the manager, and then why not let that be a success story for your organization. And of course, if the other colleagues are actually going on the same footsteps as yours, definitely that can be a very good or a positive one for your organization to embrace the Copilot. Okay, so idea is to getting to know the tool first, and getting to know the tool first, spend some time. Okay, that's good. Moving on forward. Okay, I was in here. Okay, going to the email. Yeah, time is flying. Yes, let's be rational back here. Okay, so in here, let me just pick up this one. Okay, so yeah, here we are. Okay, so very much this is actually some conversation that I was actually running with the Amon. Okay, now let's see what I can do from here. Okay, from this particular conversations. Okay, it tells me over here summary by Copilot. Okay, so you see, Copilot has taken care to do some sort of a summarization of the communication that I was actually having with the Amon. Okay, so yes, okay, so I'm having actually this sort of the summarization. Okay, from all that particular communication of the emails that we've exchanged with the Amon. Okay, further, I can go ahead and ask a Copilot over here. Okay, if I click this one, pay attention on the right hand side, then gives me actually the window where I can then iterate with the Copilot. Okay, but if I want to reply back to the email, okay, here it is. Now, here's actually this particular small icon in here. Okay, so I can then bring up this one here, okay? And then it tells me actually some of the suggested prompts, okay? These are actually some of the suggested prompts, okay? So yes, you see, okay? And for instance, like just because of the topic that was very much into the discussion over here, okay? Well, need an updated attendee list over here, okay? So here is like within seconds. Okay. Now I can keep it. I can discard it here. I can retry, but I can do what? I can make it shorter, make it longer, or I can change the tone, direct, casual, form, or like a poem. Okay. Let's make it like a poem. Okay. Yes. You see, and now that I have the second iteration, okay, well, here's the number two over here. If I want to go to the first trap, I can come here. But if I like the second one more, then I can come here as well, okay? So indeed, okay, and then I can go ahead and then retry, okay? Writing okay, yes, it does that one. Okay, I'll say change the tone, okay, and make it casual. Now I'm having four drafts here. Okay, so I can go further fine tune, make it sound more casual. Okay, so four, and then third one, and then the poem second one, and of course the first one over here. Okay, because it's email communication, let's just make it look like an email. Okay, so I'm going to keep it here, this one. Okay, and then obviously all I need to do is just send this one. Okay, but definitely I can then add the attachments and all of the other stuff as well. Okay, so I'm going to be sending this one. Okay, yes. What next? Okay, well, pretty much we've seen a little bit of the utilization of a Copilot in Teams. We've seen a little bit of the utilization of a Copilot into the Microsoft 365 Copilot. We've seen a little bit of the Copilot utilizations within the Microsoft Outlook. Okay, I'm very much looking forward now to go into the other applications. Okay, so let's come here. Okay, let's go into the app launcher here and let me see what I can do in Word. I would have been very happy in order to show you how the Copilot looks in the Word desktop. Okay, but maybe some other webinar. Okay. Okay, here we have. So let me see if I can in this case, in this example, actually bring over some document. Okay, yes, for sure. But just initially, okay, we'll tell you that we have the Copilot in here. Okay, and I'm having the Copilot in here as well. If I click this one, you see on the right hand side, similar to what we've seen it within the Microsoft Teams chat, not Microsoft Teams Copilot chat, but Microsoft Teams chat with my colleagues, in that case, Eamon, on the right-hand side, within the Microsoft Outlook, and yet again within the Microsoft Word as well. Okay, so here then I can very actually I can iterate a lot with the Copilot in regard to improving the document. But if I want to draft a document, or draft something in here, well, pretty much then I can actually do it from here. Okay, let me see if I'm having something on my OneDrive. Okay, so let me find something, okay, in here. Let's go here. Let's go OneDrive. Okay, let me see my files in here. Okay, let me go in here, see what I have here. Okay, here's one particular document in here that I'm having it. Okay, yes. This is one document, ready-made document. Okay, summary. Okay, I can do it more. You see, yeah, right away, the summary of this document has been actually written there. Okay, yes. Now, let me see if I can further, okay, actually do something from this particular document. Okay, so I want, okay, now from this particular document, okay, I want to do what? I want to put up this particular prompt in here. Okay, it says write a speech with the Fabricom stakeholders that summarizes the result of the company 2023. Okay, income statement found in the attached file. Okay, in the attached file, I can then, okay, if we are using the forward slash, okay, so class, you see, I can bring over now, okay, I need to reference the document, okay, so I can then do it from here, okay, so attach cloud files, okay, or upload from this particular device, because I have this document. Okay, I have this document in OneDrive, so this is that, okay. So I'm going to be selecting that one, and of course, select this one here. Here it is. Let me just see what the Copilot is going to be doing in this case. Okay, so here is actually the work that is doing over here. Now, do I want to insert it? Okay, let me just go and insert it. Okay, so you see, I've actually inserted this one in here, okay? Now, you might have noticed a difference, which I've actually done it on purpose, okay? Why? The prompt that I've inserted in here, okay? Properly, I needed to insert it from here. Okay, so insert it from the drafting, okay, from here. And then it would actually very much work on the document itself. There is no need to insert it. Now that I've inserted, actually over here what was doing is that inserted the thing that was generated, but of course included the previous statement as well. Okay, so the idea was actually to be able to create a speech. Okay, so no problem. we can just actually go back on that part. Okay. Okay. Or we can do the like this. Okay. So from here, we can go to file. Okay. New blank document. Okay. And then now you can see in action. Okay. And then here, I would do that. Okay. And then here's now this particular clip over here. I will reference the content. Okay. So then I would, this is that document. Okay. And then obviously I would generate. Yes. This one looks completely different from, yeah, it was actually the same from what was inserted, but of course, much better from the perspective of this particular one. Okay, so yes, if I need to do some sort, okay, try out more, regenerate, okay, not happy with this one, I can discard it, okay, I can keep it, or I can add additional one, okay, so I can add something else in here, but I will keep it this one, okay, so I will keep it this one, okay, and then this is then very much over here going to be naming this one, okay, a speech, okay, so let me just very much go over here, okay, so this is this one, which is actually that name in there, okay, and then speech, okay, speech about this one, okay, and pressing enter. Okay, super. Now from here, okay, let's close some of this stuff over here, okay. So yeah, I'm keeping that one, okay, yeah, this one closing, okay, so this one closing as well. OneDrive, I might close this one as well. I'm going in here, and the very next one is the PowerPoint. Okay, so let me go to the blank presentation. Okay, I can actually go from this Copilot in here or this one here. Okay, but from here, much easier, create a presentation. Okay, or I can ask a Copilot. If I click this one, okay, let me just click it. Yeah, you see? And you see that now that I clicked from there, pretty much what it does is that actually just tells me, indicates that this is clicked. Okay, you can notice the shape of that Copilot in comparison to the other icons on the classical ribbon. Okay, now, okay, yes, it greets me, okay, and then create presentation from a file, create a presentation about the benefits of mediating every day, generate an image of description, tell me best practices, and etc., and etc. Okay, what if I want to create the presentation from a file? Okay, let's click on this particular suggested prompt, okay, and now I want to search for that particular speech, okay? I can see if it's listed over here as the recent one, although this is actually one version of it, but I want to actually find it, the one with a name that I've actually stored or saved. Okay, this one here. Okay, yeah, this is that. So let me see, select this one. Okay, create a presentation from this particular file. Okay, the one that we've actually created over here. Okay, so this is this document. Now we want to create a presentation from this document over here. Let's just do that. Okay, so let's click on this part here. Let's send it. Okay, it's working. It's finding the file. Obviously, you see, finding the file is referencing the file on the on that particular OneDrive. Okay, I've started to see something over here. Okay, yeah, have a look, dear audience. Okay, so this is the title slide. This is the agenda. Nice and neat. Okay, indeed. And then, yeah, welcome and introduction. Okay, and look at the speaker notes. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, and then company overview. Okay, further down the line, achievements in 2023. Okay, revenue growth. Okay, what else? Gross profit analysis, operating income details. Okay, further, yeah, net income, a summary of a performance, acknowledgements, okay, and Q&A session as well. Okay, what else can we do over here? Okay, well, we need to very much, yeah, this is presentation about a statement, okay, 2023. Okay, but let's see if we can do something else. Okay, let's see if we actually can ask. Okay, let's see if we can ask this one. I have a prompt over here. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I'm asking add the new slide after the slide one. Okay, so adding a slide right after the title slide. The slide should have an image of a mountain peak in the Alps. Towards the bottom of the slide, add a text box that says, Fabricam's company motto, okay, we overcome every obstacle. Add speaker notes to this new slide that talk about how Fabricam works diligently to solve every customer request, never letting any obstacle stand in its way of success. Okay, let's see whether this is going to be work by the Copilot in this case. Let's send it. Tells me it might take a while. Let's see. Yes. It took a while, but I'm having it. Okay, so yeah, this is slide one, the title one. And according to this one here, add a new slide. I'm sorry. Add a new slide after the slide one. Okay, so right after here, after the slide one, well, I'm having this particular slide here. Okay, and then yes, asking to add. I'm sorry, we've been asking to add some speaker notes and the Fabricam's company motto as well. Okay, here it is. So all that was very much added over here as well. Okay, so indeed, in a matter of timing, okay, in a matter of the seconds, minutes, doesn't matter. What matters is actually the result, the end result, the outcome, okay, of what we are getting actually from the Copilot, and that is what matters. Indeed, then this is very much actually that tells the beauty of the Copilot and the work that we're doing with it in order to, as we've noted so far, to boost the productivity. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, let's go back to the presentation now after all this hands-on stuff. Okay, so we've been trying a lot. Okay, remember that we've been exploring quite some interesting stuff. Okay, in regard to the Microsoft 365 Copilot, in regard to the Microsoft Teams Copilot, the chat, and of course the chat, and also like the chat within the teams. Okay, Microsoft Copilot Outlook, Microsoft Copilot Word, Microsoft Copilot PowerPoint. Okay, and then further we're going to be looking actually more of it, but over here, okay, well, it says start your Copilot journey. Okay, indeed, powerful prompts are a click away. Yes, they are. So you can take your time to navigate the Copilot lab. Okay, and then when you navigate the Copilot lab, yes, use your Microsoft account to get into this particular portal, and then you have plenty of the prompts for the various situations. Okay, which indeed, as I was saying, and this relates a lot to what I was saying earlier, that spend some time with the Copilot as the individual user, the free version. Okay, and then yes, use the Microsoft account and use the OneDrive. You have plenty of space there, 5 GB, which from my perspective at least is decent, acceptable, and then use it accordingly for your own work. And then after some period of time, assess it yourself. Okay, whether this tool is indeed a tool that can boost your productivity or not. Yeah, speak freely. If it's not, tell it why it's not boosting your productivity. But make sure that you've been indeed spending time to get to know the Copilot so you can then extract it the best out of it. Okay. And then who knows, maybe you will come up with some very good suggestion which will help the Microsoft improve it further this particular tooling. Okay. Yes. And then moving on forward, class. Okay, Copilot capabilities overview. Well, we've seen that indeed we can draft emails, we can draft documents, okay, we can draft presentations, okay. Further, we can add it as we've been actually very much in the Microsoft Word when I was inserting okay, the iteration that I've had with the Copilot, that is considered actually some editing. I send an email to the email, my colleague, and of course, you've seen it me that I've actually selected more than one version of the same text in a different tone, okay, in a different format, and then obviously a shorter, middle size, and of course longer, and then obviously came up to the version that was very much in line with the discussion that I was having with my colleague. Okay. Yes, summarizing. You've seen that when I went to the Microsoft Outlook, automatically it summarized actually all the communication that I was exchanging with my colleague. Okay. And then yes, summarization, we've seen it elsewhere within not only within the Outlook, but of course within the chat, within Microsoft Teams. Okay. Analyzing the data, yes, definitely. Creating that speech from from that particular document, creating that particular presentation from the Word document as well, or going into the Microsoft Excel as we're going to be just trying from now. Okay, that is another capability that the Copilot can bring over to us. Collaboration, yes, it can help us. I'll go again to the Microsoft Outlook and see if I can schedule a meeting with the help of the Copilot. Okay. Yes, we can brainstorm, and of course, we can also get into the Q&A as well. Okay, that will help us generate the creative ideas, answering the questions about the data and or the notes as well. Okay, moving on forward. Yes, we've actually had this sort of the action, but of course I need to go into the Excel. But before going into the Excel, okay, let me just yeah, cover a little bit of these slides, and then obviously I'll go there. Okay, why we should start using the Copilot today. Okay, well, pretty much. Well, we've been actually discussing a lot of this stuff so far. Okay, so we've said that indeed is going to be boosting the productivity. That's the very purpose why Microsoft actually taken time, and then with this within its labs, okay, have devoted in precious time in order to come up with this product called Copilot. Okay, in order for us to increase the productivity. But yet again, I'm saying that, okay, often within the friendly discussions with my colleagues, okay, within the organization, outside of the organization, okay, well, there is indeed a lot of the overwhelming information circulating on the public domain, such as the internet, uh, the GPTs. I'll say GPTs in order to not specifically say ChatGPT, because generally pre-trained transformers are the models that have been trained with LLMs in order to actually generate. This is actually the narrow artificial intelligence when we speak it from the perspective of artificial intelligence. So this is that type of the AI models which is oriented towards a certain task. Okay, and this, of course, is going to be generating the output in the form of a text, in the format of the code, in the form of the image, and etc. and etc. So the idea is to increase the productivity. Okay, automate the processes. Okay, and then obviously help us to get the best out of this particular tooling. As I said earlier, there's plenty of the tools outside, but the most recent ones are indeed the ones that we needed. But before we jump into this particular journey, as this particular slide tells us, we need to then get to know. The more we know it, obviously the more of a utilization we can get it from this particular tooling. Okay, so it says here, get the personalized assistance. Yes, obviously the Copilot is using the artificial intelligence and machine learning, so to be able to be trained definitely it relies upon those state-of-the-art algorithms, which of course are using all of the information that is being used by Microsoft in order to train the Copilot, in order to then reference that as a knowledge base, okay? And then tailor it to the specifics. Let me just tell you that other than what Microsoft is serving us, if we go to the Copilot Studio, we can then, of course, us, or when I say us, I'm referring to the teams, or even as the individual user, but of course, most as the teams within the organization can then, of course, develop, come up with an idea, okay, and then bring over the idea into the Copilot Studio, and then develop, okay, the customized Copilot, okay. And when we customize it, that particular Copilot, for instance, uh, for instance, you can, if okay, take it like this. The IT departments within the organization, okay, especially the help desk, is being overwhelmed with the requests, okay, phone calls, emails, reset my password, okay. Your help desk of your organization can actually develop a customized Copilot, which of course is going to be taking on this particular task, okay. And then the help desk is going to be relieved of this task and then devote more of a time to more of a priorities within the organization as far as the help desk activities, okay. So that would be one particular example. Or if your organization, small, mid-size, okay, is running e-shop, okay, or like for instance e-commerce, you can then, and maybe I'm not saying now that those people you should be firing. No, that's not the thing, okay. I'm actually voicing the thing that with the, okay, there used to be like that sort of a feeling of fear that the Copilot is going to actually not organizations to embrace the Copilot, and Copilots will actually take over our jobs. No, if we go back in time, a lot of the technologies in the past used to be like this, okay? Pretty much bombastic, okay, with this and that, and then pretty much obviously revolutionizing this and that. But what we've learned from the time was that we need to transition, okay? And definitely we are in front of a big challenge, so that we need to transition. That's why we're saying if you've been paying a lot of attention, take your time to learn the tool. Take your time, okay? Devote some time and learn this tool. You'll see that while the time passes by, you're going to be gaining more benefit, okay, out of that particular learning. Okay, so this is actually the transition that we're accepting the tool, embracing it, and then start using it. Okay, so custom Copilot your organization can actually develop, because on the Copilot Studio, you have actually all what you see is what you get. Just drag and drop, test actually that particular Copilot until you think that you've actually attained that rate of accuracy, and then move on forward and deploy it. Okay, enhance the team collaboration. Yes, work better together, definitely. The aim is not just one particular user, but all of the users within the organization, increasing the productivity. And when we attain this level of the productivity throughout the organization, definitely that organization is going to be successful for sure. Okay, because the aim is positive. Okay, and that from that particular perspective. Okay, moving on forward. Okay, we're almost at the end of these particular slides. So I'm going to be going now into the, oh, okay, pardon. Let me just see. Any piracy issues or images are generated on prompt. Okay, so Sharfat is addressing very good question. Okay, any piracy issues? Okay, when you're saying the piracy issues, can you help me understand this question a little bit better? Okay. Well, okay, it is like this. Copilot happens to be Microsoft product. Okay. Now, when we look at it from the perspective of the compliance, okay, even the competition on cloud computing, even the competition is admitting that the most compliant organization out there on the internet happens to be Microsoft. I'm talking from the cloud perspective. Okay. Now, compliance, what it means, compliance is adherence to the regulations, to the law, to the constitutions of the states, okay, and globally, because cloud computing is globally. Awesome. Now, on top of this one, definitely you should have a well-established framework for security, okay? enterprise-grade security. So Copilot is actually leveraging that big, big security of the Microsoft that has within the cloud. And indeed, on top of it is then pretty much just been added the Copilot as well. Okay, so the Microsoft Defender for Cloud is overseeing all of the activities of the Copilot. So I'm trying actually to provide some information in order to be able to, the way that I'm understanding your question. So what we've said right at the beginning when we compare the ChatGPT and the Copilot, we've said that the Copilot is referencing the data organization, is not using it to be trained. Okay, so that's actually over here just an element that tells you that this particular tooling is considered to be actually secure. Okay, what else? Data privacy is protecting. Actually, it's protecting the information, okay? Because the back end of the Copilot is the enterprise grade security of the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, okay? Which, as I said, is overseeing the security part of the Copilot, and with it actually protects the data of the organization. Or images are generated on prompt, okay? Awesome. Now, Microsoft, when I was saying that the most compliant organization out there happens to be Microsoft at the level of the cloud computing, okay? Microsoft, it has 6 key principles, okay, in order to have ethical and responsible AI, okay? So indeed, Microsoft is working hard in order for the Copilot to behave as ethical as possible, as responsible as possible. I did mention the Copilot Studio. Trust me, even on the Copilot Studio, okay, uh, or it's more on the Azure side, okay, because Copilot Studio is like on the public domain, it's on the internet. But when we go on the Azure, okay, when we have the Azure AI services, Azure AI Open Services, Azure AI Search, Azure AI Cognitive Services. Well, there are features when it comes to generating exactly what you're saying, okay, Sharpat. For instance, like if we're developing custom AI tools, AI services for our organization in Azure, and we need to deal with the images, these services are limited in terms of the access. We need to address a request to the Microsoft so we can then receive it, a reply from them, and which comes as an approval. Okay, why? In order to ensure after that we're going to be pretty much addressing a request and justifying the request, then comes the approval if Microsoft assesses that indeed and there was a justification of what you're actually doing. Why? Because this all goes in line with what we've said, responsible AI. Okay, there's no compromise. Trust me when I say there is no compromise. Of course, at the end of the day, Microsoft is a business which is generating the profit, but it's just trying to build the trust. Okay, at the level of the apps, at the level of the collaboration with the customers. Therefore, the products that is actually handing over to us, of course, they are not for free with the subscription, but of course, it's just doing the best and no compromise in terms of responsible AI. Okay, so I think that I've actually provided a very good answer to your question, Sharafat, to tell you, okay, that indeed it's all about the responsible AI, which Microsoft is providing nowadays to us over the Copilot and also like over the AI services in cloud computing environment. Okay, yeah. Moving on forward, yes, time is winding down. Let me just go over to that particular Excel stuff. Okay, so where I was in here. Yes, okay, so super. Class, let's just come in here, okay, and then bring over the Excel. Okay, let's just come in here, okay, to tell you how the, yes. Okay, you see, well, this is a pop-up window, okay, which says start with Copilot, okay, and then obviously I can enter a prompt there, okay, or I can also like benefit from using some suggested prompts. Okay, I can navigate on the right hand side. Yes, plenty of the suggested prompts. Okay, no problem. Let's close this one. Okay, I have this icon in here where I can actually go ahead and drop it. Okay, create a customized table, get deeper analysis results, and of course, others and others, or ask Copilot. When I click on the ask Copilot in here, okay, on the right hand side, what I'm having is actually this Copilot up here. Okay, create a table. Okay, advanced analysis, summarize the column, add the color scheme to column, and of course more examples as well. Okay, so these are actually some of the. Okay, now let me see if I have something in the chat history. Who knows? No previous chat to show. Okay, no problem. Let's go in here. Okay, and then let me just bring over here, okay? Let me just go to my OneDrive in here, okay, and see if I can bring, actually I'm having some documents in Excel, okay? Yeah, here's that attendees there. Okay, my files in here, okay? So coming in here, okay, yeah, I'm having actually some of the, okay. So analyze the financial spreadsheet here, okay, and the control switch, okay, okay, yeah, I'm having all of those. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, so going back, okay, here in Excel, okay, and then, I'm sorry, no, I was very good. Let me just open up this one. Okay, let's go to the sheet one. Okay, yes. So I'm having over here actually this particular table. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Okay, so can we actually, okay, it says here, advanced analysis. Okay, how do I write a lookup formula, summarize the column? Okay, what if I'm going to be asking the Copilot to create a chart? Okay, let me just premise over here. Okay, so let me ask the Copilot. Okay, uh, okay, let me just specify a range or yeah. Okay, so from the okay create a chart out of create a chart out of the data in sheet one. Okay, so very simple like that. You have you noticed the range? Have you noticed the range A1 to L13? A1 to L13 for all of you into the Excel, pretty much. Okay, so if we select this one, okay, so then this is A1. Yeah, this is campaign owner, column header, all the way down to the 1,573, actually the data, which is the L13. So this is the L13 and this is the A1. Okay, so then when I was asking the Copilot create a chart out of the data in the sheet one, it actually took all of the range and then created this chart for me. Okay, now let me just go here and then add a new sheet, add to a new sheet. So I'm having all these sheets. Let me see where it's going to be adding this one. Yes, sheet 9. Okay, so I'm having actually this particular chart over here. Okay, I can go back to data here. Okay, and then I can ask else. Okay, for instance, like uh, let me ask something, okay? Let me ask, could you delete the profit column, okay? Uh, could you delete the profit column in sheet one, okay? So yes, let's do this one. Okay, sure. Looking at A1, L13 range, here's the change to review and apply. Delete L1, L13. Class, awesome. So apply. It's gone. Okay. Yeah. Pretty much just few of the considerations over here. Okay, and then yes, I can say here in the brackets, updated. Okay, and then yeah. Actually, that would be because time is running, and I was told that I need to very much. Okay, so claim your Microsoft certificate and badge. Okay, we need to spend a little bit of time over here. My colleague Vakas has earlier shared. Okay, it's in the chat box, but to not scroll up. Okay, let's just find it from here. Okay, yes, let me copy the link. Let me bring it over to here. This is a gift class, but you know what? Navigate. Okay, or make sure that you do have. Here's, I'm going to be pasting it here. Achievement code. Okay, class, achievement code. To redeem this code, you need the Microsoft account. Okay, so it's if you're looking at the URL, it's pointing to the Microsoft Learn. Okay, so okay, in this case, we need to use the Microsoft account. Okay, so let me just go like this. Next. Okay, send notifications. Okay, authenticate wrap. Okay. That is very simple. Okay. And here it is, how it actually appears. Okay. So when you reach out to this point, all you need to do is redeem. We've added your achievements to your profile. Okay. So view profile. Okay. Refresh it here to 5.1. Pardon. Okay. So let's just actually do some changes in here. Okay. Let me just go to the Azure. Okay. And then going into the profile. Okay. Yeah, that was actually with the updated one. Okay. And then you will then very much receive actually that particular actually receive it the badges around the Copilot. Okay. Which in that case will help you, of course, to showcase it on the social media. Okay. But yeah, dependable from the perspective of this is actually the trend nowadays, and why not actually pretty much getting benefit out of it. Okay. But other than that is again, I will stop at the timing. Okay, that you guys need to devote it in order to spend some time with the Copilot. Okay, trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. I don't know how much I managed to convince you positively, definitely not impacting. okay? But just sharing, okay? Some of the goodness of the Copilot from a perspective of capability and boosting the productivity at the individual level within the organization. So you can say that, well, I can assess that it was a very good tooling. Okay, let me try. Okay, so yes, I'm leaving you, okay, with a sincere greeting, okay, thanking you that you spent this almost 2 hours with me, okay, in hope that indeed the time that you spent with me was worth, okay, for you. And then indeed I managed to share some very good information in regard to the Copilot, okay, with you, which is, again, I'm saying not impacting on your preferences of how you work at the individual level or the workplace, but just to tell you that if you've somehow, for whatever reason, doesn't matter, missed spending some time with Copilot, okay? I'm just asking, okay? Uh, 5 minutes a day in time span of 7 days, which would be 35 minutes. 5 minutes a day, devote a little bit on the Copilot. In daily instances, three, like on the free Copilot, of course, just 3 prompts, okay? Casual ones, okay? Not specific ones, okay? Casual ones. And I'm quite sure that on the day 8, you will sit down a bit and reflect, okay? What was this tooling, okay? Well, did this and that, okay? And maybe it's going to be sparking then the interest at you, so you can then look forward to spending more time with it, okay? So you can extract more out of a Copilot. Yes, class, pardon again, respected audience. I was just about to tell class. Yeah, thank you so much. Indeed, appreciated the time that you've spent with me. But let's just make sure, were you able to redeem the achievement code? That's a gift from Microsoft and my company Technology to you. Okay. And then, yes, if you've actually, very nice session. Thank you very much, Sherpa. Okay. Appreciate everyone. Thank you very much, Eamon. Okay. Yes. A lot of the credit goes to my colleague Eamon, because indeed, when I was saying AI man, he is indeed. And I need to tell this one, okay? Yeah, very lovely person, very kind, sincere one, supportive, yes. And then I know it's not the practice, of course, to tell it in front of the eyes, but of course, I'm just telling the truth, okay? And it is as I was saying, okay? And then yes, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed, thank you very much as well. Okay, yes, amen. You're the man. Thank you so much. Okay, Sunu, appreciate it. Thank you too, Sharafat. Yes. Okay, class, respect for everyone, but an exceptional respect, just a little bit to Sharafat, because he was actually, okay, he or she, pardon, I'm sorry, okay, with due respect, okay, was very much into the questions, and that made so engaging this session. Thank you so much indeed. Ali, thank you very much. Yes, very good questions as well. Okay, although it took me a little bit of time in order to, yes, be able to grasp the question. Yes, thank you so much, Abdul Hadi, as well. Okay, appreciate it. Yes, Ankit, thank you so much as well. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Amen. Appreciate it for your kind words, my friend. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. So just wait me. Yes, yes, yes. You need to wait me, Desiree. Okay. I need to respect you. Definitely. I'll do that in a second. Okay. 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 Thank you so much for your participation in this webinar as we did in French. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, indeed, very handy. Okay, yes. Okay. Mahfad, thank you so much as well. Mohammed, thank you again. Appreciate it. Indeed. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Peace and blessings from me, from my company. Peace and blessings to you, to your families. Enjoy the rest of the day. Wishing you a very productive week as well. Okay, and then yes, feel free. Any questions, any comments? Yes, address to our company, and then we would be very gladly taking on the time to respond back and provide you the very needed answer. All the best from me, from my colleagues, peace and blessings from Technology. Okay, what matters is Technology as a training provider. So we've been just trying to do the best during these 2 hours. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll leave you with peace and blessings.